Over the past few months, the podcasting industry has shown signs of going through another shift. Amazon reorganized their audio business by shutting down the Wondery podcast studio. And a lot of people in the industry are like, woo, big things are about to drop. And it could be a scary moment, but it could also mean a chance for you to highlight what you do best. So what does it really mean to the independent podcaster like you who aren't following the big news and the big industry players, right? They just want to share their message and connect with listeners. This means personality-driven podcasts are going to be bigger and hold more space in your listeners' podcast listening app. So how do you stand out when things will be more crowded? And you know what? Podcasting changes all the time. We are the wild, wild west in this media landscape. The things you were doing 2 or even last year isn't the same anymore. There are better tools, AI is coming of age, things don't work anymore. Sometimes you're like, what happened to my favorite blah, 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 right? But even with all this change, there is one constant: you. As the host of a podcast, it's you that your ideal listener is looking for. They want your insight, your thoughts, your ideas, your dreams. So how you deliver that will be the game-changing thing that will make you stand out in this crowded landscape. So on today's episode, I've got tips for you on how you can develop your unique on-air personality to make your personality-driven podcast really stand out from the crowd. This is episode 101 on the Podcaster's Guide to a Visible Voice. Hello, welcome back to the pod. I am back after my summer break. As I said in my last episode, I ate lots. We did travel. And although I didn't actually get that specific slice of cake I was talking about in my last episode, I had a version of that in my own form of a French patisserie. We went and got some great French pastries and even did a lot of baking of my own cakes. And actually last week, a very yummy Saskatoon berry and peach pie. Ooh, we ate it all already, but I'm still dreaming about it. Okay, since I can't share food with you over audio, let's just get into today's episode. I was actually recently at Pod Summit YYC, that's in Calgary, presenting a workshop about using your voice for podcasting. And if you're listening, because we met there, hello! Good to reconnect. It got me thinking more about how important voice plays a role in the success of your podcast. Like I always say, your voice is your number one instrument. Today's podcasting landscape is maturing. Like any other form of media, there's always growth, and podcasting was seen as a little baby industry for so long. We were the new kid on the block, very much like Gen Z in the workplace right now, right? They're the youngins. But podcasting has learned a lot, and there's many big players that are still investing in this medium. And it's really become the norm in our society, which I love. Podcasting is normalized. No more am I shocked to find someone talking about podcasting on the latest episode of my favorite TV show, right? There are even shows that are based on the premise of podcasting. So podcasting will continue to grow. So don't be afraid there. And yet, things are changing. In late August of this year, Sounds Profitable put out their Podcast Landscape 2025 report. And just part 1 of it, as of this recording, I've done this in mid-September. I haven't seen part 2 yet, but it is coming. But in part 1 of this report, it highlights some core metrics at the end. And number 8, the last one on the list, actually says, among the many benefits of podcasting, hearing from celebrities ranks the lowest. And that's what listeners are saying. There were so many years where, oh great, another celebrity podcast, right? It was great for the industry because it got more eyes on what we were doing. But then it's just churning out another show, another interview with a celebrity. And here in the Podcast Landscape 2025 report, yeah, it's like the least interesting thing about a podcast right now for people. And in the same report, for the last 3 years, the response to what benefit associated with podcasts are important the number one answer in the last 3 years has always been listen to discussions on topics of interest. So that means you, the host, if you cannot bring your personality to the table, you're losing listeners. So what are some of the things that you can do today to shift your voice the next time you're behind the mic? I've got 3 easy things you can do just before you hit record. They're quick and will get you in the mood for either recording that conversation with someone or riffing on a solo episode by yourself, okay? So the first thing is to just show up. How are you feeling today, right now, in this very moment, as you have got your microphone set up in front of your face? Every time before I record, there are other things that are ruminating in my mind, right? It's not just about podcasting. One day it could be I just dropped my kid off at school and there's something about my kid that I'm still thinking about. The next day it might be a work thing that's driving me nuts. I've got deadlines. The next could be I just had an argument with someone and it's just like, right? But when we're ready to be behind the mic, we just got to show up and let those other things go in that moment so you can focus on your episode at hand. What is the topic? Who are you speaking to? And exactly what is it that excites you about this? The second thing is to move your body. Your brain is probably tensing up muscles right now because of all those little gremlins that have come to the forefront, right? Like all those things that I just talked about, my kid, work, and maybe an argument, relationships. Actually, as I say that, my voice is tightening up. I've got my shoulders up to my ears. So when you're stressed or when you're not thinking about the task at hand, your body needs to move. So give it a little shake, do a dance, a wiggle, a stretch, do what you need to do. Talk through what's going on, verbalize it, because your voice is part of your body, right? I got a lot of tightness in my jaw and my shoulders, so tell myself, you gotta stretch that out. Oh, you gotta move those shoulders, rotate them. I've got to relax my jaw. When I get really nervous, it's a full-on, I gotta jump up and down, maybe do some jumping jacks, shake the arms, and do loud vocal noises while exhaling. So not just screaming, right? Because that's going to hurt your vocal cords, but using breath and exhaling with a big whoo or whoo, yeah, whoo. And just start humming. Maybe I'll do a and just get warmed up. And the last thing to give your brain some good mojo before you start fully using your voice and recording this episode, think about when was the last time you truly felt so good about something? Something that was empowering for you, like a really good feel-good moment. Get that moment and feeling of it in your mind. Tie this back to the movement and breath that you created in the last step. Because if your brain is focusing on the good stuff, your brain will tell your body to relax. And when you're relaxing, so will your voice, which is a muscle, right? So now you're ready to rock. So get behind the mic, hit that record button, and when you're ready, remember, 1, how are you feeling right now in this moment? 2, move, breathe, start vocalizing. And 3, when was the last time you truly felt empowered and felt so good? Keep that in your brain. I hope these little tips will get you grounded and ready to ask those big questions to your guests, or to be unabashed to follow up with something controversial, or to work on your solo episodes to speak with spirit. You know, you're really bringing something of yourself to the table, and how you are feeling is very valuable and unique to your show and you and your voice. Podcasting is still growing. So don't be afraid to speak with spirit, and I'm so glad you are a part of this audio journey of podcasting. On the next episode, we're going to do more voice stuff. We're going to take a walk down memory lane, for me, and chat with the teachers, the instructors that first taught me about voice and broadcasting. We're going to do a little voice work 101 with two of my former radio instructors from my BCIT days. That's the British Columbia Institute of Technology, where I went to what I call radio school. I recently found out that they started a podcast of their own called Ignite My Voice. So Kent and Kevin will be here with me. And as they say on their show, charisma isn't born, it's built. So we're going to share with you a day in the life of a voice student and share tips you'll need for your podcasting journey. We'll talk to you then. Thank you so much for listening to the Podcaster's Guide to a Visible Voice. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you'd share it with a podcasting friend. And to reveal more voicing and podcasting tips, click on over to visiblevoicepodcast.com. Until next time. Let's go!